An NTTV special report, UNTPrez Talks, with Dr. Neil Simontrisk.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of UNTPrez Talks, where we sit down with UNT President Neil Simontrisk and talk about everything UNT. I'm your host, Michaela Goose. How are you doing this morning, President Simontrisk?
I'm doing great. It's been a rainy, cold weekend, and I'm ready to get back to work.
Well, I think I am too, ready to get off of vacation and back into work this week. So to start off, we're going to go over a little bit about the town hall that was just held. You just conducted another university-wide town hall, this one on reopening our school as well as health and safety issues. What are some key points you really want to underscore for students, staff, faculty, and parents about this major event?
Well, one of the things that I think is most important is that we focus on our social responsibility to each other. And that is, we need to take care of each other. And in order to do that, people need to do everything possible to keep themselves safe from COVID and then to protect others. And I think one of the really big challenges will come around people wanting to wear masks or not wanting to wear masks. Obviously, we're going to have to socially distance. We're going to ask for everyone to be wearing masks when they're in the presence of other people. And I don't know about you, but sometimes wearing masks is a little bit tough. And people kind of cheat. They pull them down under their nose, or they kind of leave them dangling on one ear. So what we're going to try to do is make sure everyone's educated to know that when you wear a mask, you're keeping other people safe. You're keeping people who are at high risk safe. And that this is part of our responsibility to each other. So I think that's a huge one. The other one, of course, is that we're going to go over a bunch of ground rules all around how many people can be at an event and how do you ask for approvals, how are athletics going to run, what kind of testing and tracing we're going to use, and what we expect to have for our class opening sessions. So that is the high points of what we're going over.
Okay, and going back to the masks, I was wondering, are there going to be people on campus, for example, possibly UNTPD, telling people, put on your mask properly, wear your mask properly, you can't be here without a mask, put it over your nose, stuff like that?
Well, certainly we won't have the police doing it, and we're going to develop a kind of a tips and traps sheet that gives people advice on how to manage situations where someone is non-compliant. There might be a good reason for it. There are going to be some exceptions that will be granted. They'll all go through our safety committee. But the biggest issue is showing that we care for each other. So, if you walk into a class and you forgot your mask, hopefully they'll have some disposable masks available so that you can go to the class. If someone chronically doesn't want to wear their mask, then we'll try to bring it up to attention to student affairs, or maybe to the dean of the unit or someone else. And maybe they need an accommodation. Maybe they need to take the class remotely because they just don't want to wear masks. So those are the kinds of things that we're going to have, I think, some challenges with.
Okay, and will all classes have the option for students to take it online if they have a health risk or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a lot of options for students taking classes online. We believe that if someone doesn't want to be in a class because they are at high risk, that we can develop a successful curriculum for them. So regardless of the situation, we think we are going to be covered. We do want to give those who want the in-person experience the option for doing it. We think it's particularly important for some of our freshmen who are just chafing at the bit and they want to get out and they want to be in college. We think it's important for a lot of the experiential classes like music and art and laboratory classes. So in those cases, we'll be offering face-to-face, but if someone doesn't want to take them, we'll develop alternatives.
Okay, and in these classes that students do choose to have online, if they are socially distanced from everybody, staying 6 feet apart in the seats, would they still be required to wear a mask to take the class?
They'll be, in most cases, we'll want people to be wearing the masks. We're going to strongly recommend it. Or if the guidelines in Denton County change, we may have to require it at some point. But whenever you're in the presence of a large group of people in an indoor space, wearing the mask significantly reduces the chances of someone getting sick. And we already know that right now more young people who are asymptomatic have COVID than some of us older types. So we're worried that people feel COVID isn't going to hurt me, so why should I bother with protective equipment? And we've got to keep hammering home the point. It's not for you, it's for everyone you come in contact with.
And that's an amazing point to make. Moving on to a somewhat lighter subject, UNT was one of the colleges selected to help NASA be able to get man and woman on the moon by 2024, specifically working with CO2 deposition in the space shuttle itself. What is it like to have our college be a part of such a phenomenal event in history?
Well, I think it's great that our students are going to actually get to develop technology that will be applied. So far, they've shown really good responses. They've been involved in developing new spacesuits, and of course, CO2 scrubbing's a major problem. There's a lot of ways to handle it. I'm sure they're going to come up with something highly efficient and effective. So I think that UNT will have a little chunk of history as we return to the moon, and we're all going to have, I don't know, blue moon parties or green cheese parties or something.
And I look forward to every single one of those parties when we're finally able to come back to campus. That is all I have for you today, President Simatras. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for watching, and see you again next time on UNTPrez Talks.
You've been watching an NTTV special report, UNTPrez Talks, with Dr. Neil Simatras.